I know y'all used to me hearing hey, but that's because I'm beyond excited about tonight's episode, everybody.
The energy tonight is real,
Oh my
everyone.
goodness, everybody. It is Friday anime and chill time with me. I am DJ Gamer, my co-host, dearest Abby, the Queen of Con. Abby, who do we have on tonight?
We've got someone that DJ really truly admires from the bottom of his heart. Excuse me, I'm excited. From the bottom of his heart, someone that he identifies with in true hardworking character, someone that's gone through obstacles. The voice actor for Rock Lee, Brian Donovan, is joining us tonight. So everyone, sit back, relax, and anime and chill with us.
Let's go. Oh my.
Hello.
Let's go.
What's
Let's
up, guys? I
go.
got props.
All right. Everyone, this is Brian Donovan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on the Anime and Chill podcast. First and foremost, how are you this evening?
I'm great, and I really appreciate you guys being. I mean, Fridays are always a little better.
There we go.
good.
Got the whole week, and we're here.
Yeah, but I appreciate you guys having me. It's really good to be here, and I love your vibe, and I love anime and chill, and yeah, I love it. And your intro looked pretty awesome too, I might add.
Oh,
DJ's
you.
the man.
Thank
That's his
you.
work.
Yeah, that was nice, man. Oh, Endless Shadow Art is in the house. What's
What's
up?
up, Endless Shadow? How are
That's,
you?
That is Josh, who's also a phenomenally talented artist who's done a lot of my stuff in print. So, and even more incredible, he's been a part of a lot of my fundraising and has donated a lot of stuff. So thank you, Josh, for being here. That's what's up.
Oh, good
Yeah,
looking out,
Josh, we'd love to
Josh.
see your work.
Yes.
I am a huge fan of artists and all the things that they do. So I cannot wait to check out some of your work. That would be fantastic. We'll get to that towards the end of the show. We can talk about that for a little bit. But for right now, go ahead and tell us a little about you, Brian. Tell us about your career, everything about you from start to finish in 30 seconds or less.
Yeah.
Kidding.
And go. Yeah, well, I think one of the most important things I could possibly say about my own trajectory is the fact that I had an incredible sister who was a big fan of mine, and I was a big fan of hers. And I think from that cheer, and the fact that we were both, I think inherently performers and really enjoyed that element of life. But the fact that we cheered each other on was a huge part, I think, of my success and certainly my pursuit of the arts. So I would say to anyone and everyone that find your cheerleaders, because they're out there. They might be hiding. They might, but they're out there. The people that believe in you and that want to lift you up and cheer you on. And it's so important. You can do a lot yourself. But at the end of the day, you need people to lift you up and goose you when you're down. Just like Mike Guy and guys, Mike Guy and Rock Lee. It's like they had each other. It was a little unhealthy at times. You could say codependent. However, they did cheer each other on, and they created the best of themselves. With that that constant support and. So, I think that's a big part of my career. Also, I mean, I can get into dreams and the pursuit of, and how I think, you can, realize your own dreams. But at some point you got to leap. And for me, it was really just coming to LA and coming to Hollywood. I delivered a car here in 1990, probably about the time you guys were, before you were born. And, and yeah. Yeah. So I've been here a while, but yeah, I mean, you have to leap, right? So at some point you got to just kind of leap and hope the universe catches you a little bit, or at least lets you fall softly or gently without too many broken bones. And that's kind of what I did. I had the dream to come out and try it, and not really knowing, of course, what would happen. And then you chisel away, you work really hard, and you kind of hoping that a door opens or two. But as I just said at a panel at a con, with a reunion, a Naruto reunion, and a lot of cast members were there, I just said, why not you? I mean, that really is the question, because I think people, have dreams, but then they don't really take that leap. They don't, for fear or whatever. And I really try to impress upon people that, it's someone's going to do it. So why not you? Everyone on the Naruto panel, everyone on the cast was just like you. I mean, no one had the magic wand. I don't think anyone had nepotism or the shortcut. We were all just, I grew up in Buffalo, New York. I shoveled snow. I had dreams. I played football in the front yard with my friends. I jumped in leaf piles. I had a newspaper route and babysat, and you know what I mean? Like all of it. And, but I had a dream. And so yeah, why not you? Anyway, that was a very short question and a very long answer. However, yeah, you got to leap. And as far as like the trajectory of my resume, we can get into that too. But I really didn't start anime until the late 90s, like 97, 8 maybe. I did Flint the Time Detective, and that was my first property that I did. It was very obscure, not well known at all. But that team started doing Digimon, and then I got Digimon, and then part of that team went on to do Naruto, and then I got a Naruto, and so yeah, I mean that's kind of the trajectory, I guess, or the resume of my anime. But yeah.
Right. Well, without trying, that snowball wouldn't have started rolling, It just came and it went on and it started going and it grew into this thing that people really love to this day.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look, I think almost anyone that's lucky enough to be on a hit show, a very popular show like Naruto or Digimon, unless they come on the scene and they're cast like 5 seasons deep and they already know it's a hit. But if you're part of, the genesis of the show, you don't really know, if it's going to be a hit. Like, I kind of knew with Digimon that had already been established because my character comes out in the second year, right? So he's passed the baton, the goggles. And so I kind of knew Digimon was a hit, but Naruto, none of us knew that it was going to be 17 years. And, it's still recording. We're still doing stuff. It spun off into Boruto. No one knew it would be this successful. So if anybody says they did, they're lying. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's a dream. It really is. It's such a gift. And I think everyone on the show will say that. I've heard them say it at panels or on interview shows. It's been a real gift. None of us anticipated this at all. And so really the opportunity to grow and kind of live with your character for that long is a gift as a performer and an actor, because that's very rare. And it's also incredibly rich that we're able to do Comic-Cons and meet people that care that much about the show or the characters. Or as DJ Gamer knows, being inspired by a character, whether it's Rock Lee or any character that you relate to in some capacity, because that's what it is, right? It's either we relate to something that that we either like about them, that we relate to, or we want to be like, or we want to be the opposite of. Like sometimes we like characters that are completely the opposite of us. Good versus evil, whatever. Classic archetypes. But whatever it is. Yeah, to be a part of that and that legacy of a show like Naruto is, now it's a legacy, right? It's generational. It's become much bigger than all of us, and yeah, it's fun to be a part of something. And I'm not gonna lie, I've been at this for a very long time, and I've done a lot of stuff that never see the light of day. I've had some incredible flops. I've had near misses. I've been up for stuff that became even more insane and popular, and you know, but it wasn't me. I didn't get it. So, you know, I've you name it, on that scale of, you know, success and failure, I've seen it all. We're just having to be celebrating, you know, that's one success, you know, that I've had, and that wild success.
And that's okay. You deserve that. When you put the effort in and something good comes out of it, you deserve the recognition for that. No matter what does Rocky say? It doesn't matter how hard you get hit. It matters how many times you get back up. Something along those lines. And it really sticks with people. So it's good that you're honest with that, you know, you can fail at some things, and what might seem like a failure to you would be a dream for other people, but that you continued throughout some of that struggle really is fantastic. And we're glad that you're where you are now.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, DJ Gamer, you have you know, I'm sure you know, or you're familiar with the quote from Rock Lee. It's like, you know, and it's one of my favorites, but you know, I'll even do the voice just for fun.
Oh my God.
And I'll even give you the visual again just for fun. Hold on. Wait, where's my... There it is. All right. Like, a hero is not one who never falls. They are the one who get up again and again, never losing sight of their dreams. So to you and all your dreams coming true, everyone.
Bingo.
Yeah, I mean, that's it.
That
you know, a hero gets up. We all get knocked down, right? I mean, God knows we've all got plenty of scrapes and bruises from life and this roller coaster ride that we're all on. But yeah, I mean, the difference is, you know, are you going to get back up? You know, are you going to get back up? Yeah, you know, and, you know, that cliche thing, you only fail until you stop trying. Right. So, yeah, you got to keep getting back up. I mean, that really is, I applaud everyone. I mean, look, anybody that gets out of bed every day is a hero, you know?
Bingo. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. So just speaking on that, when they gave you this role of Rock Lee, what was it like? Okay, what did you envision? Like, okay, the voice, it just like, did they say, here, try this, or how did that come about?
Yeah, you know, I think for the very discerning ear, some people can, you know, they'll be like, oh, you know, Davis and Digimon, you know, I thought it might be you, or you sounded familiar. When they find out that I did both those characters, they're like, oh, of course you did. Oh my God, it makes so much sense now. And I think, you know, in truth, and I remember this conversation with the producers, you know, as I said, there was some crossover between the Digimon team and the Naruto team. And I remember they were looking for a very similar energy as, you know, Davis from Digimon. And so, you know, we kind of started there. They're like, you know, he has that same kind of unbridled passion, and he's exuberant, and you know, he's just kind of all over the place, Davis and Rock Lee. And so we kind of started there. That was kind of the base of what we were, you know, what they were looking for, and what I, you know, could obviously bring to it. And then, you know, it was just an audition like anything else. I mean, I you know, obviously I knew some of the teams, so that's always a good place to be in, especially if they like you and that, you know, they trust you. And because Digimon, I didn't blow Digimon, it didn't fail after my, you know, my season. You know, they recognized that, of course, that, you know, I could carry a show and do the work. But you know, as far as like finding the actual, you know, who is Rock Lee, that's always a process. I think, you know, again, I went with the Davis Digimon energy and the passion, and used some of those elements. You know, he was older, so I made him a little older. And then of course he doesn't contract. So there's almost like a very proper way that Rock Lee speaks. So he's a real anomaly, I think, because he's very kind of knight in shining armor, and he doesn't contract. So you know, no one speaks like that, right? You know, will you go to the store with me? You know, I should not go to the store with you. You know? I mean, no one speaks like that. I had to figure out a natural way of speaking without the contractions. And then of course the crazy, zany, passionate, you know, nuttiness that Rock Lee can, you know, dip into. So, but yeah, we found it together. And, you know, I think for the audition originally, the first one, I was in there for 25 minutes. And then they were really excited and happy. And then I went back, I think, for a callback and just to kind of fine tune. But at that point, I knew they were excited about what we were creating. And I think it was more of a formality, I guess, looking back in hindsight, but I wasn't sure. And then, of course, they asked me if I wanted to do it. But a little trivia, especially for the super fan like DJ, You know, I almost walked away. And some people have probably heard me speak about this if you've ever seen an interview or a panel. But, you know, I was really concerned about the relationship between Guy Sensei and Rock Lee.
Yes.
It is a little codependent. It is a little, you know, almost abusive, if you will. And some would say, you know, in the martial arts and karate, your sensei is, you know, is like really like iron fist, you know, and so that's part of it. But, you know, I was like, wait a minute, what is happening here? Like, I don't know if I can condone this, and I'm not really sure. And then Mary Elizabeth, the director at the time, you know, just asked me to trust her and said, look, I know this is weird. I know it seems a little abusive and codependent. But, you know, I think you know, classically the ends justify the means, which I don't necessarily subscribe to that for everything, but I did love and respect Mary Elizabeth. And I was like, all right, I'll see where this goes. And you know, clearly 17 years later, I'm thrilled I did. And I think,
yes, thank you. Thank you.
and I do think the ends justify the means to the degree that, you know, there's a lot more positive messaging with Rock Lee, obviously, but also even the relationship with Mike Guy, and then there is from, you know, some of the codependent, you know, weird shit. But yeah, that's a little trivia,
Yo, no,
That
my
is
goodness.
fantastic.
Thank you for trusting her. Thank you.
Yeah, no
For
kidding.
reals. What could it have been what we could have not had? There's just, it's so crazy. Life is so crazy and amazing at the same time, because if even you had a hunch of not, you know what? No, I just don't like it. I don't trust you for whatever reason. I'm not going to do this. We wouldn't have this amazing character. We just wouldn't have it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, someone else would have done it. Right. And, you know, sometimes, yeah, for better or for worse, or fate, or whatever you want to, you know, in it as, you know, someone else would have done it. And who knows, you know, if it would have.
No, that voice with that character.
Right.
And look, I just to tell you, Brian, look, I got to give a special shout out to my son, because he told me about Naruto. I had no clue about it. I'm coming off, you know, Dragon Ball, and I love anime and everything, but I knew about Naruto, but he introduced me to it. And then I said, okay, I like this. And then when Rock Lee character came out, I must admit, at first I was like, I don't really like this character now. What did it for me? And I was just like, okay, dude, you just became top of my characters that I love, I appreciate, was the Gaara fight.
Yeah.
That right there, I get chills right now talking about it. And he knows, he said, try not to freak out, Dad. That's my son.
How old's Michael?
Oh, he's a teen right now, 17.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, he knows about this. He knows that I just like, if it's always like, I said, dude, I said, he stole my heart. I said, Rock Lee stole my heart with this fight. Just the scene, how he goes into the Lotus. Abby, you gotta watch this.
I believe you. This is so special. I look forward to the day, and I'm gonna have a moment where I'm like, oh my God, this has got me now too.
That's what did it. Oh,
I think that's the joy of anime, when you see how happy it makes other people. And it's not like traditional Western media where everyone's like, oh, this is on Netflix, you have to watch what's streaming now, you have to watch what's popular. There's something about watching somebody's progression through anime, and as they progress through the story, you go like, oh my gosh, they're connecting with all of these different characters. And I'm sure, much like your personal journey as voicing Rock Lee, you had to kind of go, I'm not really sure about this, but then you learn and you grow with the character, and you're like, okay, I get this now. I understand why they're doing some of the things that you do. So that's part of the reason that we like to share here on the Anime and Chill podcast, all of the good things that anime brings to us, because it's a good community. We love it here.
Yeah, no, it is. And really one of the most gratifying, you know, times and moments really for me in the 17 years. I've only been on the con circuit for a couple of years now, but it's been remarkable in that way. I think most of your fans realize or understand how it's recorded now, and that we're in a booth by ourselves, and it's beep, beep, beep. And then, you know, you do it. So it's very, you know, solitary, and there's not a lot of anything else. It's really, you in a booth by yourself. And so, yeah, to to now years later interact with fans and people that love the show or specifically your character. It's incredible, and we do get a lot of stories of I was having a tough time in middle school, or I was bullied, or, and even sadly, a few, suicidal people that were really going through a dark time. And then for them to come up to you and say that, the show saved me, or your character, saved me, and the positivity of Rock Lee. And I will also get, I hated Rock Lee at first. He was so annoying. But then he won me over. Because that's not uncommon. He is. I mean, I'll be the first to admit he is annoying, but he's also infectious and contagious with his positivity and his passion, and there is something, just beautiful about Rock Lee that you might not necessarily appreciate out of the gate, but he does grow on you. And really, fortunately, I was part of one of the most iconic fights in history. So that really did give Rock Lee a goose, with the fans, for sure. And I think I will even go further to say that, and I think a lot of people would agree that not only did Rock Lee catapult from that moment on as a fan favorite, post the fight, but I think the show really takes off, certainly from the tuning exams in general. But from that Rock Lee fight, a lot of people say, oh yeah, that's when not only was I hooked with Rock Lee, but it was that's when I really got hooked on the show, and I was like, okay, we're going for a ride, and this is incredible. And so that's obviously gratifying too, and really exciting to be a part of something like that.
Did you have any idea when you were voicing that scene, it would become what it is?
No way. I will say that Mary Elizabeth, again, this extraordinary director that we had for the first 8 years, what she did when I got to the studio that day, because that's pre-pandemic, that was a long time ago when we still went to studios, and but when I went to the studio, I do remember vividly that she said, we're gonna just watch this in Japanese because it's unbelievable, it's epic, and I want you to see it, and I want you to appreciate it for what it is and where it goes. And so it was amazing. Just like an audience, a fan, whatever, a viewer, I watched it in real time in the Japanese original, and I appreciated it, I think, like most people do. It was just like, holy crap, this is insane. And he drops the weights, and it's like boom, and just like a fan, I was riveted, and I was like, oh my god, this is incredible. So I don't know. No, I mean, the answer is no. I didn't know it was going to be what it became, in anime lore. However, I could appreciate it, and I did know that there was something special with it. I did know that there was something special. Did I think it was going to become what it is? No, but it was pretty amazing, even in real time. I remember that session super vividly, and thinking that this is amazing. This is amazing.
Oh, Abby.
Right. It seems like a really epic moment, because Michael's here asking, did the screaming in that scene put any strain on your voice? That's a great question.
Yeah, it absolutely. I think after a session like that, with any of the fights, and certainly the video games and stuff, where it's a lot of efforts and it's a lot of fighting and it's a lot of, okay, do it. You see, if you ever seen a script for a video game, especially the video games, it'll be like, okay, you're taking a hit. We're going to do, A, B, and C of a small hit. So it's like, and then it'll be medium hits, A, B, C. And then it's like, and then it's like extreme hit, and you're just like, and so you do that for 4 hours, I don't care how talented you are, you're going to feel it. And with that fight, it wasn't a video game. It wasn't that extreme. But yeah, you feel those sessions for sure. I mean, you're sipping tea and down in raw honey, and and whatever else helps to kind of soothe your throat. And of course, at that time, early days, I'm trying to think of the time and the overlap, but I was doing all the announcing for Disney at the time. So I had to be really careful that, you know, I had to be ready. Like my real big steady gig, certainly financially, because Naruto, most people, you know, I don't know if anybody's publicly said we made pennies to the dollar when we were actually recording this show, but it was, you know, the pay was abominable. It's the worst contract in SAG. It's awful. And so, you know, I'd churn out 5 episodes for $128, you know, but my real bread and butter gig was doing all the promos for Disney. So I was like, coming up next, and we'll be right back after these messages. Like I was that guy. And so I'd be really
That is
careful
so
after
cool.
sessions. Yeah. It was a blast. I did that for 6 years for Disney. And, you know, that was the bread and butter gig. So I had to be really careful whenever I did like some of the more, you know, taxing voice stuff in anime or whatever else. I had to be really careful that I was ready to do, you know, to do the promos and not blow my voice out and not, you know, be able to do, you know, my bread and butter gigs.
Bread and butter.
Right, right. And I think that's something that we don't have the luxury of enjoying anymore with all of the streaming services that we have. You know, we don't get to enjoy the break anymore. We don't get to hear the, okay, coming right back, and all of the pause in between. And I've got somebody in my life who works in media, and they were telling me all one day about how they have to, for legal reasons, announce that a commercial break is coming up and when it's coming back. And I think that is so cool that I have the opportunity to interview someone who was letting this generation of children know, okay, we're coming back. It's gonna be fine. This commercial is not part of the show. So it's really cool to hear that and know that there was a balance between you being a character and another character that was this ambient voice telling people, okay, we're coming right back. And I believe you also did radio commercials as well. So how does balancing all of those different career facets, how were you able to juggle all of those things?
You know, it was, I mean, look, any actor will tell you, if you're a busy actor, you know, that's success. I mean, that's thrilling, you know, because for many years, you look at your, you know, back in the day, you had the yearly planner, right? You had a book, and it was a calendar. It wasn't your phone. It wasn't. And so you saw in a tangible way your blank days, your blank weeks. And that does, you know, you don't write down, oh, I got to wait tables tonight. You know, it's like you only put the good stuff on. And, you know, so there's years, especially in the beginning, where you're not busy and you're groveling for a gig. You're trying so hard. You're auditioning. But you're just trying to get the gig. And so, yeah, if you get to a point in your career, and I've had moments in my career where, yeah, it's amazing. It was busy. It was like I'd be running, as you described, from Disney promos to radio commercials to, you know, recording Rock Lee and Naruto, and that's the best. I mean, yeah, you might get tired, you might be fatigued, your voice might hurt, but that's a good problem to have. That means you're working,
right?
You're making money, you're finding success. That's the dream. So not too many actors complain about, you know, oh, I'm too busy. Like, you know, unless they hate it or they're on something that they don't really enjoy, which happens, of course. You get trapped in maybe a gig that it wasn't what you thought it was going to be, or creatively there's, you know, it's not fulfilling, whatever it is. But yeah, I think most actors certainly appreciate when they're busy. And yeah, what you fear is when the phone stops ringing and you're in a lull or what. You know, that's what's terrifying for most actors. Not I'm busy.
Right.
Yeah. Definitely. So, out of all the characters that you voice, who would you like to spend the day with, and why?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. You know, I think it's funny, and I'm not saying this just because I know you love him, DJ. But you know, having voiced Rock Lee for so long, and not really sure anymore, like what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? You know, was Rock Lee born first, or was Brian Donovan, and you know, symmetry. But you know, I think there are a lot of similarities between me and Rock Lee, and like you, I appreciate the positivity, and I like being around positive people. Now I know that life, I mean, I've been in dark places in my life. After my sister died, I cried every day for 2 years. So I know pain, I know darkness. But I'd like to think that my general harm is cup half full, and that I do believe in goodness, and I do believe in kindness, and I do believe in, the positivity of the world. It can be hard, certainly, when, the environment is less than, and granted, the last 5-6 years has been a little rough. However, I do like to live that way and try to, and I think, therefore, my answer would be Rock Lee, because, I think a lunch or a little date with Rock Lee would be filled with, passion and love and kindness and pure heartedness, and also a determination, a reminder of those things that he's so well known for, the perseverance and persistence and, tenacity, and those things that really help us get over the humps, right? They help us get off the ground when we're hit or punched out. And we all need reminders of that. We all need kind of life coaches. We don't always have them, or cheerleaders, which I referenced early in the show. And so, yeah, I think Rock Lee would be great for that. He'd be a good friend, and for that matter, he would probably credit Mike Guy and, his sensei for, lifting him up in that way. So he's really just, carrying the baton in a way. And, guys, if Guy Sensei stopped by our lunch, that'd be awesome too. Who's your friend, Lee? That'd be a kick. They'd swirl in, crazy optimistic madness.
That would
Nice.
be a lot of fun. So you mentioned your sister earlier, and I'm very sorry to hear that she passed. But in her memory, I would like to chat a little bit about the documentary you created. So as the creator of the documentary, Kelly's Hollywood, the story of your sister's pursuit to be an actress in Hollywood, how has disability representation changed in the media over the years?
Oh, that's a lovely question. So for your viewers and the audience, and thank you everyone for being here tonight. I made a documentary about my sister. I'll give you a little show and tell. This is old school. We're not going to broadcast. Oh, there it is. Anyway, that's my lovely sister, Kelly. I made a film about her. She was born with Down syndrome in 1969. It's a love story between a brother and a sister. It's on Amazon Prime or Prime Video, whatever you call it. It's called Kelly's Hollywood. But, it's 82 minutes of I would like to think, not only a love story between a brother and sister, but also about the realization of dreams, and my personal belief that we're all here for a reason. We all have something unique and beautiful to offer the world. And my sister was exactly that. She personified that. She was 100% her authentic self, and because of that and the passion she had for life and men, she had a dream, and it's really just about the pursuit of dreams and what it takes to realize your dreams. That was a passion project, clearly, blood, sweat, and tears, all that. But it was really successful, and that launched me into an advocacy and a speaking engagements. But how I think it's changed in media, we have come a long, long way. In the last, certainly when my sister was born in the 70s, when she grew up as a kid, and then later as a teen in the 80s and 90s, there was very few representations, certainly, of anyone with disabilities, for that matter, Down syndrome or otherwise. And shockingly so. Like, if you see, any old movie from the, by old, I mean, 70s or 80s, it was very rare that you saw someone with a disability represented. And, it is what it is. I can lament all I want about the past, but I choose to live for the future and present. And I think we have come a long way. I mean, I don't know if you guys know, but they just released, Mattel released a Barbie with Down syndrome.
Yes.
I am so excited for that. I cannot wait to pick up one for my collection.
Yeah, it's just dynamite. It's such a wonderful, inclusive, it's just awesome. It's sold out globally. It's a huge hit. It's getting remarkable press and recognition. And it's awesome. Like, I can't express enough what a triumph that is for the community, and all of that. And there's also another, Katie Driscoll, who's become a friend of mine, who started changing the face of beauty about almost 10 years ago. And her whole thing, she has a daughter with Down syndrome, born with Down syndrome. And she her whole platform was getting advertisers to include people with disabilities. And she's done a remarkable job. Like, I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but you go to Target and there's someone either in a wheelchair or with Down syndrome. You know, I just went to Walgreens, you know, to pick up something, and there was in the photo section, there was someone with Down syndrome. Like, it was, for someone that's been in that world for so long, you know, we're talking 50 plus years. I can't even tell you, and I know that the rest of the community, anyone with a disability or anyone marginalized, you know, it doesn't even, you know, I look at what's happening with trans right now and all of this, and I think to myself, you know, and for that matter, I'm going to get a little political, and I apologize.
All
but,
good.
you know, and I look, I understand, like, everybody comes from stuff, and we all, you know, we're all cultivated a different way, and you know, whatever. But what I will say, and I see this in the disability community, I've seen the fight for the rights of the disabled, right? I know families and parents that are like, finally, like, they're begging the world to accept their child with a disability, but yet they still have trouble with LGBTQ, you know, plus. They're adamantly against trans or any rights for trans or any acceptance for trans. And that breaks my heart, because my feeling is that if we're going to fight for one, we got to fight for everyone.
For
we got to fight
everybody.
for all that are oppressed and have been downtrodden by society, or you know, not accepted by society for whatever reason. And so, yeah, have we come a long way? Absolutely. Do I love what's happening in the media to include? Absolutely. Do we have further to go? Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, but I am thrilled, and it has come a long way. I mean, we have moved the line further and further and further. But we got to keep fighting, you know. I mean, we're seeing it right now. I mean, we're seeing it. As I said, trans is just one of many examples, and I know it's a hot button subject right now. But, you know, I could substitute trans for so many other people that have been fighting their whole lives to be accepted, who aren't hurting anyone. They just want to live their life and be accepted like everyone else, and to be, you know, to allow themselves to live and breathe in this world without oppression and hate and vitriol. And so, yeah, I'm still fighting for that, for all those that I love. So, yeah, but thank you, because I think your question really launched into something that's very important.
Yeah, well,
Nice.
it's fantastic. Part of that goes with it's just understanding. You know, I think something that has gone a long way from being in the media, having the representation and the visibility kind of helps younger generations go, there is something different. There's nothing wrong. It's just different. So that was my excitement with seeing the Barbie come out with Down syndrome, because, you know, it's just another person. That's all that it is. There's
Yes.
no difference. And the difference that is there isn't something to be afraid of or, you know, looked at in a negative light. It's a person, and very loving. I used to work with special needs students, and they were some of my favorite students.
There we go.
So it is really special, and I look forward to watching this documentary. It will have a special place in my heart. So it's going to be, and congratulations on the win for that as well. It didn't win an award, correct?
It won an award. It's been really well received.
Nice.
It's highly rated, you know, on IMDb and Amazon. And yeah, it's 82 minutes. Make some popcorn, you know.
There we go.
You know, grab someone you love or not. But yeah, it's a real celebration, I think, of life and love, and really a reminder why we're all here, why we should be all here.
Bingo.
Right. Well, thank you so much for creating that, because it speaks to you as an actor, a producer, a director. You know, we're not just one type of person. We cover all different bases. So thank you so much for putting the work out into the world for this fantastic thing. Because I think you're an incredible person, and not just in an acting way, but in a talented human being who's pushing for visibility in all different facets.
Well, look, you know, right back at you. I mean, you guys are creating a forum for me tonight, but also for other actors, and with this opportunity, you know, I just get to further expand that ripple, and my sister's ripple in the world, and your ripple by, you know, expressing, you know, your views and support, and a little bit of your own history with special needs and education, and, you know, and that's, you know, exposure is everything. It's everything. Like, I feel I'm so fortunate, and I do have empathy for people that are still trying to figure it out or resisting like the progress of humanity. I understand that. And I know, I recognize that I've been so lucky in my own life, you know, with a sister born with Down syndrome. My father was deaf. My best friend was black. My brother's gay. Like I can check a lot of the boxes of like, I've been exposed. But what I will say, and this is easy to say, that all of those people have changed my life so exponentially and so beautifully. But it's that exposure, right? I've been fortunate to not be afraid of different colors or different religions or
Right,
Seeing
different
everything,
right.
sexualities
yes.
or you know, and so I know that I'm lucky. I've been very lucky. I've been exposed to a lot of it. But that's, you know, what I hope to do and further, and what I hope media continues to do is just expose, and then it's like it becomes less fear. Like as Dolly Parton said, well, my God, if we're gonna, you know, she was making a reference to like trans, like she's like, well, I hope they don't, you know, what did she say? I can't remember her quote exactly, but she goes, you know, I hope they don't limit my blah blah blah, because God knows I've dressed more risque than a trans, you know. I mean, and it's true. I mean, like
True.
it's just so, yeah. I mean, it's not like Dolly's point so beautifully and poetically and simply was, you know, don't be afraid. Like, I mean, my God, you know, it's like,
Yes.
Right. And
um,
I think in some of that, the exposure and everything, you know, we always talk about finding characters that we click with, you know. Like you said earlier, you might not look like this person or have something in common completely with this person, but that's part of the anime universe that we enjoy. We can kind of find someone that's got something different, or maybe something we feel like we're missing in our life, that encompasses the things that we enjoy or maybe we want to. And it's fantastic that it's all within this umbrella of anime and humanity and figuring out our way through this world. So it's really exciting to kind of blend all of the things together.
well, it is, and you know, and I think shows like yours, but also as you know, if you've been to cons or your audience has been to Comic Cons or anime cons, and one of the things that I've just come to love is that it's this beautiful microcosm of humanity at its best, you know, inclusion at its best, and a shared love and understanding, and you know, we don't have to get muddled by sound bites and policy. I was going to say politics or religion or whatever. It's just this commonality at the core of who we are as human beings, which is to be around each other, to connect, and to have a shared experience. You know, and it's been such a joy. I can't even express it enough that when I go to Comic Cons, I see what humanity could be. I believe in that still. And you know, you see it in the real world too. And God knows I've had plenty of wonderful experiences. But when you're at a Comic-Con, I mean, there's exceptions, of course, whatever. And you know, I mean, there's always a little heat anywhere you go, maybe a little friction and conflict. But in general, Comic-Cons really do embrace and foster the best of that. And I, you know, it's pretty magical. I have to say, it's pretty magical, and you get such a diversity at Comic Cons. It's awesome. And yeah, I wish, and I do say sometimes at panels, if it comes up or the right question leads me down that path, I will, of course, say that, and also encourage. You know, that we are the peaceful warriors, that, you know, we have to leave these Comic Cons and we have to, you know, keep that ripple going and spread that goodness, that acceptance, that inclusion, and be the examples, you know, as Gandhi would say, you know, be the change you wish to see, without getting too, you know, philosophical. But yeah, I think there's something there, as you said, you know, anime and otherwise, whatever that commonality is, if we can start there, then we can, you know, have conversations about harder things, but we at least have touched on a shared humanity, and that softens us. You know, those things soften us and allow us to be more open and hopefully nicer, more caring, more aware.
All of the right things we would hope to come from.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know we're kind of pressed for time. I want to kind of push through the rest of the podcast. I love that this message that you're sending out to everyone, you're really speaking to my heart right now, is something that
Yes.
I know I personally needed to hear this week. So I'm very thankful for everything that you're touching on. I'm going to go back and rewatch this again. I definitely needed to hear it. So we've got somebody in chat asking us, do you have any other cons planned coming up next? Tell everyone where you're going to be, where they can find you on social media, and keep up with that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't want to chance your name, but is it Ginji or Ginji or yeah, I do have cons lined up. I'm very excited about them. I'm actually going to Marietta, Georgia, which is outside of Atlanta next Saturday. I'll be at Plastic Empire at a store signing, which will be fun. And then after that, I think I just signed up for Riverside Anime again.
Oh,
I know. I think it's gonna be me and Guy Sensei for the first time ever.
Oh my God.
So that's super exciting. Now that's on the down low. I should have. The caveat being, I'm not
Breaking
sure.
news.
I'm telling.
I'm not sure. You heard it here first. Yeah, I know. Anyway, that one's not. The ink hasn't dried on that one yet, but I think so. And then Austin in end of June, Colorado Springs at the end of August, San Antonio, Minneapolis. I think that's October, November. Yeah, I think those are the ones that are signed, sealed, and delivered at this point. And there'll probably be a few more, but it's nice. I mean, I'm not going to touch the whole country, unfortunately, but here and there. And so hopefully, if you're around or you know someone that's close, please let them know.
Yes,
and you can
I will
find
be
me.
going to Riverside.
Yeah, maybe I'll see you in Riverside then. That'd be amazing.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be amazing, dude. I would love that, man. Yeah, so hopefully that works out. And as I said, it might be me and Guy Sensei, which would be amazing. It'd be so fun. We've never been in the same room together, so that'll be pretty extraordinary. And then you can find me on Instagram. That's kind of the handle that I do the most. It's Brian Donovan _1. I have my little baby, who's not a baby anymore, but I have a baby in my arms. And then, yeah, if you would like to spend 82 minutes with my sister and I would love that. I think you won't be sorry. It's very easy to recommend. It's a lovely little film. You'll laugh, you'll cry. You'll be reminded of hopefully, what the hell we're doing here. And that's on Prime. That's on Prime Video. Kelly's Hollywood.
Prime Video, everybody.
Excellent. I've already got it pulled up on my other laptop.
Yes.
So on my watch list for sure.
Yes, we're going to watch that, Brian. We're going to watch that.
Nice.
All right. So before we get you out, this is like, I swear, this is like our last two questions.
Sure.
Okay. So 5 guests. You can invite 5 guests from the entire anime universe. It doesn't matter who. You can go anywhere. You're inviting them over for dinner. 5 guests. What are the 5 guests and what's for dinner? That's the first question.
Well, I do have a noodle cart, and yeah, are you talking the actors, or are we talking the characters?
You go characters, actors. It is open. They go.
I have always been a huge fan of Jack Nicholson. Yeah, and he's one of the. I've seen him across the court at the Lakers game, but I've never actually met him, and I think he would. I would just love to meet Jack. I mean, I'm not a fanboy at all. Like it very, I may probably because I've been in it for so long, 33 years and counting. But yeah, he would be very, very exciting for me to meet. So Jack in a room with maybe like a Steve Bloom, who can just do all these voices. So we'd have this round robin of conversation.
Right.
Probably even do Jack. And so that would be kind of funny just for giggles and sound bites. And then, honestly, I'd love to sit down with my sister again. I'd love to have, she's joy personified and I miss the hugs. I wouldn't mind, I'm reading Obama's book right now. And, that probably gives away where I sway, but what I appreciated about him, aside from the obvious, that he broke so many barriers with his election, is, reading his book, it's, you know, whether you agree with everything or nothing that he represented, or you're a Republican or deep red, you know, whatever, I'm okay with that. But reading his book, he's super thoughtful, and he's also very measured with his understanding about his place in history, but also revering the office of the presidency and our Constitution. I think, was one of the, dare I say, one of the last representation of civility in politics. You know, which I think we've absolutely, utterly exploded and destroyed. So that troubles me. So I would like that at the table, which would be really interesting with my sister, Jack Nicholson.
All over.
And then
That's one.
last but not least, I mean, you know, if I could hide my 2 boys under the table and my wife in my lap, that would be pretty dreamy.
Bingo.
Yeah. I mean, you know, they're my life. So yeah.
That is
Nice.
so. You know what I love about that? All of those people have someplace special in your heart. There's a lot of meaningful people at that dinner table. I like that. That's a good dinner. I like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely. So we're having noodles, right? That's what we're saying.
Well,
what was for dinner?
No, that was just a reference to noodles are not my favorite. No, I would say, that's a good question. You know, I love a good pineapple and pepperoni pizza, light cheese. I love Thai food. I love ice cream. Ice cream's at the table for sure. Yeah, don't tell Rock Lee. I don't know how much they would appreciate that or respect my choices on my take. But yeah, you know, I just told this story earlier today, and I haven't told it in years, but I got hit by a car about right before I met my wife, so 18, 19 years ago. And I remember I was laying on the ground. It was pretty serious. I mean, I obviously I recovered and all that, but at the time I didn't know how bad it was. And it was cinematic, you know, right? I'm looking up and all these people are
right.
Oh my God. And, you know, I hear the ambulance coming, and I remember laying on the ground going, I should have eaten more ice cream. I'm going to eat more ice cream. I'm going to eat ice cream at will. Whenever I want ice cream, I'm going to eat ice cream. Life is short. Anyway, but yeah.
Okay.
That is so. I want that on a shirt.
Yes. Eat more ice cream.
Eat more ice cream.
And then
do you have a favorite flavor?
Life is short.
Right. All right. So
what's your favorite ice cream flavor? Going off of that really quick.
You know, I mean, I don't indulge in coffee ice cream very often, and I don't even like coffee. I don't drink coffee, but coffee ice cream, yeah, it's dynamite. Especially at Trader Joe's, they have little flecks of like coffee bean. You know, yeah, but it's awesome. And you know, the reason I don't drink coffee is because by the time I would be done with all the milk and the sugar, it's not very healthy.
It's
not
no.
Which you know. Which is why I love coffee ice cream, because it's so decadent.
Just enough, right?
Just enough.
Yeah, just enough.
All right. Amazing. Okay. There's a billboard facing the world. What is your message to the world?
Holy mackerel. Dynamite cherry on top. You know, there's a few, but I guess you know, my tag for my film, Kelly's Hollywood, is Anything Can Be, and it comes from a poem by Shel Silverstein. And I would probably, you know, if it was a tag and it was just like a boom, boom, and 3 words, it would be Anything Can Be, or Rock Lee, Never Give Up, or, you know, Kindness Rules. But, you know, the Shel Silverstein, you know, I'll leave it here because I think this is, you know, it's a poem worth finding and certainly reciting tonight, because I think it's an important reminder. But it goes like this. And Shel Silverstein is very well known for like a children's book called the Giving Tree. He's known as a children's poet and otherwise. But the poem is: listen to the mustn'ts, child. Listen to the don'ts. Listen to the shouldn'ts, the impossibles, the won'ts. Listen to the never haves. Then listen close to me, child. Anything can happen. Anything can be. So there you go. It's an homage. Oh, and for that matter, I wrote it on my grandfather's butt crack from 1917. Um, and it sits on my desk as a constant reminder that, yeah, you got to go after it and that anything can be. I have realized some of my own dreams. I have seen my sister realize her dreams. I have a lot of friends that have realized their dreams. It might look different than you first imagine it, but I do believe in dreams. I'm a cheerleader for dreams. And I encourage everyone to go after your dreams. You got to try. You got to try.
Bingo, Michael. You're listening
My heart
to that?
is so full
Michael.
right
Michael.
now. We've done this
Right.
show so many times, and every once in a while I'll get choked up for something that's really sweet. This for me tonight, I mean, really, truly, you're speaking right to my soul. So thank you
Yes.
so much for all of the wonderful things
Oh,
you
yeah.
said.
So, Michael, pay
Yeah.
attention to that. And also, I got a shout out to my girlfriend's son, Roy. Roy, listen to that message. Go for it.
Go for it, baby.
There you go. Let's go.
Absolutely. And look, I
Wonderful.
will say this because I think it's important because I think a lot of people want the dream wand, right? They want the quick fix, especially in this world we live in, the social media. It's like, everyone's an influencer, everyone's going after something or peddling something or promoting something, and you have to realize with dreams comes a lot of hard work, and that would be a nice like full circle bookend to Rock Lee. You got to work your ass off. I mean, there's no shortcuts. I mean, every once in a while you hear about a shortcut and some crazy story about someone, won the lottery or whatever it is. But really 99.9% of the time, it takes a lot of hard work, and there are no shortcuts. So that's important to realize, because I can recite poetry all I want and it's beautiful and anything can be. I truly believe that. However, it comes with a lot of work. And if you're willing to put in the work, or as there's a great book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving Up, blank. And there's a nice little nut that he has in there, a little carrot, where he says, look, you think about the worst part of that dream pursuit, right? The worst part, whatever it is. The administrative part, for me with the documentary, it was like trying to find rights and clearances and do all the producerial stuff. It was awful. It was horrible. I hated it. But if you think about the worst part of that and you still want to pursue your dream, it's still gnawing at you and it's still like, then you got to go for it. You got to go for it. And so, yeah, but realize that it's going to be a lot of hard work. And if you're okay with that, rock on, baby. Rock on.
Bingo. Let's go.
That is so wonderful, so incredibly inspirational. It is all of the things that I know personally I needed to hear, and I hope that anybody else watching this will be able to take those bites and really appreciate it, because it's coming from someone who means it. You're not just saying to say those things; you genuinely mean that.
Mean it. There we go.
No, absolutely do, and yeah, and that's why I'm such a cheerleader. I do mean it from the bottom of my heart, and I've lived it. And I'm also an old fart, so I can say with experience now, and maybe some authority, that yeah, it's what I say has been lived and true to my heart anyway. And yeah, but I am a cheerleader, and if anybody wants to reach out, or dearest Abby, if you come to Kelly's Hollywood and you want to say hello or let me know what you think, please do. I'm pretty responsive on IG. I try to be as responsible as possible. Of course I'm busy and I have a family and all the rest, but yeah, so if anybody wants to reach out, happy to say hello. And if you come to a con, I'm pretty famous for my hugs with permission, but hugs are free, and I'm good for a juicy hug. So come say hello. If I see you at a con, I would love that.
There we go.
Excellent. That is wonderful. Thank you so much. And we've got one more parting request before we go wrap it up for the night. On our show, we always like to spread a good message of love and positivity. So we have a special cheer that if you could please do with us, it would be amazing.
Yeah.
So the way this cheer goes is we say peace, love, and anime.
Peace, love, and anime. There we go.
Excellent. Wonderful. Brian, thank you.
Did you hear that?
This is so wonderful. Thank you so much for your time tonight. I really hope that you have the wonderful weekend that you deserve, and just enjoy the rest of your life, the person that you are. I'm just so full right now. I really mean it. I really am
me
very
too.
happy.
Again, that's what I'm talking about. It's connection and exchange, and with authenticity and just love. I mean, really, I like my Instagram. I think I still have it up there. It's like you can never love enough, and it's true. If you start there with good intention, then that's all the magic. That's all the good stuff. And but right back at you guys. You can't do this. You can't do this in your closet alone. This good feeling comes from that connection and that exchange. So thank you very much for having me, and thank you for digging anime as much as you do. And I wish you all the best. I hope to see you at a Comic-Con. Sounds like DJ Gamer and I might spend a little time in Riverside.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Excellent. Okay, everyone. Well, that is it for this night's episode of the Anime and Chill podcast. Don't forget to follow Brian on social media and us at the Anime and Chill podcast. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode.
Bye,
All my best,
everybody.
guys.
Peace.
Bye, everyone.